So I'll watch like the major pinball tournaments online, and like there's this organization called the IFPA, the International Flipper Pinball Association, and they have a whole like ranking system, and you know the top 50 are just killers.
What are they doing differently?
I mean, a lot of them are like under 20 years old, so they've just started from such a young age. They've got the neuroplasticity to kind of like learn how to do it. Shot accuracy is a big thing. Yeah, you know.
Are they like? Is there specific training they do off machines?
You just play,
just like crazy. It's like the professional video game players.
Sure, exactly. And like, you know, you've got to have rule knowledge for every table. Like Addams Family plays different than Twilight Zone, so you're going to be shooting for different shots. But then there's a number of different flipper skills that you can do to kind of catch and corral the ball. Different nudging techniques. It's maybe the dumbest hobby I've ever had by a long shot. And I was getting good. Like I was winning tournaments. I was probably in the top 20 players in the city, maybe top 50 players in the city.
When you walked into a pinball place where like people like, oh shit, Jay's here?
People didn't want to get drawn against me.
Really?
No, I mean, I'm a hard out. You know, I would go to, there are people that I didn't want to play against. You know, I didn't want to play against Sajel or Serge or John Sol. Oh, John Salzman's so good at pinball. He's fucking great.
I don't know any.
You don't know any of these people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just need to shout them out.
But then I was also like terrifying to play against because I would like scream and throw the machines around and
like what noise would you make? Like not direct, like just.
I would scream fuck at the top of my lungs. Dude, you played video games growing up, yeah? Yeah, dude, I was a controller thrower. I was a wall puncher. I was a straight up Kyle.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't lose that intensity, and I've always been a sore loser. So, you know, I was getting better, and I was kind of learning to control it, but still, like, I just went to this dark place to play pinball, and...
It sounds more toxic than stand-up was in some ways.
Only, for me, it was. For most people, it's like a real haven for kind of miscreants, and...
Well, I've seen you come into a bar, and there's a machine there that, like, you haven't played.
Yeah.
And there's, like, this... like trance that you go into where you're like, you start looking at it and it's like, there's no way you're not playing it. And
it only costs 50 cents, you know, exactly. It's not that much.
How much were you spending a week playing?
You know, maybe 15, 20 bucks.
That's not bad.
Not that much. And like when you first start playing, you go through quarters quick because you lose. But then once you get good, you start getting way more free games. And, you know, instead of your game times being like 5 minutes, you'll play like a 20-minute game. And, yeah, that's much more economical.
For sure. And were you making money in the tournament?
Oh, yeah. No, I was making maybe like $80 to $150 a week playing tournaments. You know, there were a couple that I was generally in the top 3 winners circle. There were a couple where I couldn't really crack it because they had different machines and different regulars at those tournaments.
What's your all-time favorite game?
All-time favorite game? The new Godzilla machine is maybe the best pinball game ever made.
Really?
Yeah. So there's this player named Keith Elwin, considered the greatest of all time pinball player. And he recently started designing games as well. And he's made like 4 or 5 games now, and all of them are just beautiful. They completely changed the meta of pinball design, and this new Godzilla one that he made is you would have a very good time playing it. It really marries the gameplay of being good for just a casual player and being deep and challenging enough for like pro players. Yeah.
How so?
So the shots aren't too hard to hit. It's easy enough to kind of like get the game started and get into different game modes. It's not that complex. But then there's enough kind of like little tweaks and features that you would really have to study the game to learn how to like maximize it. Yeah.
So when you're playing though, what are you trying to do? I always am just trying to keep the ball alive.
Sure. Well, and that's where you start, just keeping the ball alive, and you're kind of flailing and maybe kind of aiming for things. Mm-hmm. So if I start a game of Godzilla, let's say this is going to be super autistic, I'm going to be trying to hit the left and right ramp to qualify my monster battle mode. I'm going to be trying to hit shots that will get me towards the main Godzilla multi-ball mode. I'm going to be trying to advance to like 3 or 4 different like late and mid game goals. I don't know. Have you ever played like Settlers of Catan or like super complex German board games?
No, I made fun of all my friends for doing that on this podcast, but I've heard good things.
Have you ever played like an RPG video game, like Final Fantasy? Mm-hmm. So you know how in Final Fantasy you're just trying to like, you know, in the beginning get your characters up a little bit, but then you have these other like mid and late game goals that you kind of know that you're aiming yourself at. You're not even Final Fantasy. Any game is like that. Pinball's like that too, and you just have to know like what shots you need to hit in what order to kind of go that direction. Mm-hmm. And every table has got different rules. And
where are the rules posted? Or is it just you figure it out as you're playing?
So when you step up to the game, usually if you look down, there will be a rule card. Mm-hmm. And you can just look at that, and that'll kind of give you a overview of what to shoot for. But then if you go on YouTube, there's, you know, like 15, 20 hour-long videos for basically every game ever made.
Damn.
That will teach you how to play it. And then you just got to be good enough at pinball to keep the ball alive long enough and hit the shots to do it.
So why did you get out of this to go back to stand-up?
Quarantine, man, the pandemic. I was really about to like make my move into the upper echelons of pinball, and I'd gotten my rage under control. Like I was playing a lot and not raging out, and that was the biggest goal for me, because when I played Lucid, I was fucking killer. Mm-hmm. But
what
then
was the trick to getting the rage under control?
I don't know. I think that I just kind of like did it enough times and was like, dude, cool down, don't.
Do you smoke before playing?
No, that
made it worse.
That makes it worse. Like sometimes I would do it recreationally, but never in a tournament setting.
Why? Just throws off your timing?
I don't play as good.
Yeah.
I don't play as well.
You don't smoke before sets, do you?
No. That's more like once I've got everything done for the day, I'll maybe smoke weed. But I like it less and less. Yeah. You know, my girlfriend loves to smoke a lot. Sometimes, you know, she'll be smoking and I'll have a puff. But yeah, you know, I felt like maybe I had to do it to de-stress or like escape from life when I was working shittier jobs. But my life now is so good. Mm-hmm. Like I don't need to escape from anything in my life now, which is great.
Yeah.
But anyways, pandemic hit and pinball died. Like all of the pinball bars closed down. The tournaments were all gone. The pinball scene was really COVID cautious as a whole.
I mean, you're touching everything with your hands.
Exactly. And you're hunching over someone's shoulder, waiting for them to lose so that you can play again. And that happened, and I kind of, you know, had been keeping a little notebook of material. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. You know, I still would think about jokes, and I started to kind of get confident in what I was...
Sneeze is good.
You nasal bastard.
I ate something before this and it went up my nose. Like, you ever have that happen?
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm sorry, YouTube. Hey, if you like that video, make sure to hit the subscribe button below and follow our page for new weekly content. I hope you're fucking happy with this, dude. I hate doing this shit.